Yeah, I remember the day we were sitting, writing that song. It was one of those spontaneous songs also. And we were actually responding to, like, this isn't what the song was about, but what we responded to was all this talk of terrorism and insurgents and all of these things that were, like, we were just being inundated through the news and the media, and knowing that, that had an impact on our communities too, and the way that we engaged, like the social political changes from all of this terrorism stuff changes the way everyone can engage in change in social discourse in our communities, right? So we were starting to think about that, just the idea of being an insurgent, and
in your own land.
Yeah, in your own place, And then that kind of sprung off into all of this.
Okay. How are we for tape? Shoshona, I'm hearing your voice more in the new album, I think, more clearly, both vocally, and my sense is from a writing point of view, and I've addressed writing with you before, and you say, it's very much a shared collective. But it's as a impartial listener, I'm hearing more voice. I'm hearing more of your voice. Is that an accurate reading, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think that I'm more comfortable in my own voice. And also, I think, too, I really was dealing with, for quite a while, this thing, because it's very big part of our culture is Anishinaabe. We're soft-spoken, and we're not, like, pushing our way out into the front, Like, that's not who we are culturally, really. Not to say that we don't raise our voices and that we aren't proud or strong or any of those things. We're all of those things, but our way is to be, to embrace humility and to be not to take up more than our share of space. So I had to figure out how to step out and carry that with me. And it was really important to me because, my mom and my auntie and my family come to shows, and this is where the music comes from. So I needed to walk through that. And I feel like I'm getting there, like I feel like I can, like my mom can come to a bar and be comfortable when we're playing, and because of the vibe that we bring.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And your voice is your instrument.
Yeah.
Your primary instrument, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I would say I feel like primarily I'm a songwriter. But yeah.
I love your writing.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Special, and then we had a big feast at the house, and all of our friends came up and slept, and we put blow-up mattresses all over the floor and like all camped out at Raven's folks' house on the res, and it was really like the reason we make music, And so we're planning to do it again. We'd like to do it in some regular semblance.
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in exploring.
Yeah, and we had like a pool tournament because when I moved back home to learn how to speak the language, like I bought this pool table, so I'd put all my words up and play pool and study. Yeah, so we had like a community pool tournament at the same time. So there's all this action going on in the house. And
Yeah.
Right.
Moose meat cooking on the stove.
So you went back to learn your language.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I didn't get to complete my work though. But yeah.
Music hijacked you.
Music hijacked me, and politics did too. Or politics hijacked the project.
Right. Do you think it's about, just quickly before we go on, do you think it's about going home? It sounds like it is in this case. Because I thought, is it about going home or is it about going to the land? But it's not just land, it's family too, I think.
Oh yeah,
and
it's totally connected.
Community.
Yeah. They're all interconnected.
Yeah.
It's like a braid.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about the album before we move on. And Raven, I hear a multi-textured piece, and you talked about the production process a little bit, and you know, putting mics in unusual places and really exploring there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming that your approach must have included, you know, quite an in-depth treatment in post too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really, what I feel lately in the last few years is that, I mean, I grew up on my res playing guitar and, you know, singing old country tunes and, you know, and turned into a songwriter. And I think now what's been happening is that, you know, I have a fairly decent facility on my musicianship that I've put that and started using a studio as my main instrument in a certain way, like using the recording studio as I would my guitar or my voice.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you're talking about post-production and things like that, like, you know, we took Shoshona's vocals, for instance, and recorded them on a beautiful microphone, ran that through, like, you know, some old circuitry from the 60s, and then ran it back out into like an old Beatles amp, and then recorded that back in, balanced them together, and you know, it's just like there's so many things, but it's mixed low.
Yeah.
It's not anything that would show off something. It's just to bring a feeling and a texture, and you know, and eventually you do it until you feel like, oh, the painting's done.
Wow.
You know, because there comes a point where everything feels balanced from over here to over here.
Yeah.
You know, and when you get that sense, you're like, oh, yeah, we're there. You know, and I really feel that with the studio, it's so much fun because technology is just, it's just expanded in so many ways. Like, we go on tour and I record claps, and the ricochet that you hear is the reverb. So I'll actually record the reverb and then use that on our albums or recordings after.
Okay.
Yeah, I can import that into my studio, and you know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, especially like connecting that to these songs that have this relationship to place, because you can bring in, like, it's like mining for all of these things and bringing those like things connected to place, whether it be sounds or visuals or the way that like the sound moves around in that space is really kind of an interesting thing to bring to a song, which you wouldn't notice as a listener necessarily, but you might feel it. You know, it affects the way you feel the song.
And I'm discovering new things every time I hear it, and I've heard it 20 times now. And that's what makes me think about texture and depth, and everything that you guys put into it. I mean, it's just, yeah, to me, it's deep. I love it.
Cool. Well, I know, like, too, if you have really good speakers, there's like little details that you can hear. Then you can't hear that in your car or, you know, somewhere else, right? You know, because even the way that we mix it in an environment that, you know, felt good, and so you know, anything that you do like that, it gets translated into the music.
So I should listen to it in my car, on my headphones, and in many other environments. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, Raven's really a tech nerd at heart, I think. I'm discovering.
Well, and he's good at blowing out amps. How many amps did you blow?
This year on tour, maybe about 10. I don't know what it is, but like, even I know when you've recorded our shows in Iqaluit, we blew up 3 amplifiers there, and then at Comasket 2, and then I can't remember if you were in Ottawa, but I blew up 3 amps in there, and these are just like random gigs. I don't understand.
It's really.
Or I know we were at the Olympics, right? And
all the
power died.
Yeah.
So we did an acoustic set. Yeah.
Raven needs to make some offerings to the sound gods or something.
Maybe you just need to build your own amps.
Oh God, Greg, don't get him started.
If I had time, yeah.
Oh my God.
We've covered a lot.